Hi, welcome to Storytime with Gigi. Today we're going to be reading a story from the Quality Religious Books for Children series. This one is called The 8 Bags of Gold, and it tells the story of the parable of the talents. There's so much to learn from parables. This story was written by Janice, Kramer and illustrated by Sally Matthews, and it's taken from the book of Matthew in the Bible, chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. I like the pictures already. Once there was a master well known throughout the land. He had 100 servants who were under his command. His house had many, many rooms, and no one could deny that he was rich and there was not a thing he couldn't buy. This is a rhyming book. I hope I can keep up with the correct pace. One day the wealthy master had important news to tell, and so he called 3 servants with a shiny silver bell. The servants started running when they heard the master's call. Until they reached the master's room, they didn't stop at all. They found the master waiting, and they noticed at his side a massive heap of precious gold tied up in bags of hide. Ahem, the master cleared his throat. I've called you here today to tell you that I am about to travel far away. The trip will be a long one, so I think it's plain to see that someone surely has to keep these bags of gold for me. I've thought and thought of many days, and now I've hit upon the answer to my problem. You will keep them while I'm gone. He pointed to the servant who was standing first in line. Come here, he said, and you shall have your share of what is mine. I give you these 5 bags of gold to do with as you choose. So then, till I return again, these coins are yours to use. Then to the second man he gave 2 bags of gold and said, to make good use of all this wealth, you'll have to use your head. The servant who was last in line approached the master's chair. There's 1 bag left, the master said, and that will be your share. So 5, 2, and 1. Now go, but don't forget, when I return, I'll want to see what faithful steward you have been in using it for me. The servants made a bow so low their foreheads touched the floor. Then they gathered up their gold and headed for the door. The man who had 5 bags of gold went out with troubled thought, and in his mind he counted up the things that could be bought. It's such a task, I must not fail, the puzzled servant sighed. But then a plan popped into mind. That's what I'll do, he cried. I'll buy a store, a great big store. I'll sell so many things, like pots and pans and shoes and coats and silk and diamond rings, bronze camel bells and Persian rugs and candlesticks and tea. The biggest store in all the land, that's what my store will be. He bought a store and people came from places all around. They came from almost every place where people could be found to buy the things they needed in this store that was so grand, for it was soon the superstore, the biggest in the land. There he is, happy. And on the other side of town, where shoreline meets the sea, the man who had 2 bags of gold was happy as could be. For many years the servant had possessed a secret wish to be the owner of a shop for thriving trade in fish. And so a marketplace for fish was just the thing he bought, and fishermen came in to sell him all the fish they caught. Then he in turn sold all the fish to people of the land, and so his business day by day went on as he had planned. For though he never had a crowd around his little shed, his marketplace did pretty well, it truly must be said. He didn't make a fortune in his work of selling fish, but still his marketplace fulfilled his every dream and wish. Now, ever since his master had departed on his way, the man who had 1 bag of gold had worried night and day. "Oh dear," he cried, "the gold I have is such a small amount. The coins my master gave to me take little time to count. If I should use it, I might lose it. That would be the end. I think he trusted it to me to hide, but not to spend." And so that night he took his gold, and quiet as a mouse, he headed through the darkness to an old abandoned house. Beneath the cellar door he hid the bag of gold secure. "No one will ever find it here, of that I can be sure." Then up the stairs and through the door into the night he ran. That spooky house, he panted, would sure scare the bravest men. There he is hiding it. The master then returned to town and called his servants 3. "What have you done while I was gone? I cannot wait to see." The man who had received 5 bags with pride stepped up and said, "I bought a store, and now I have 10 bags of gold instead." Then said the man who owned the shop down by the ocean shore, "You gave 2 bags of gold to me, and I have gained 2 more." "How wonderful," the master said, "and I am pleased to tell you both that you shall have more gold because you did so well." The man who had 1 bag of gold came forward then and told how he, to keep his treasure safe, had hidden all his gold. "Beneath the ground I buried it and left it till today, and here it is, the same amount as when you went away." "You foolish servant," cried his lord, as angry as could be. "That you weren't brave with what you had does not go well with me. I wanted you to use it, not hide it in a hole. To do the best with what you had, that should have been your goal." The sad but wiser servant knew he'd made a great mistake. The master's gold was given with a task to undertake. His job was not to hide the gift, but use as best he could, and if he failed, the master would no doubt have understood. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. And of course, the message in that book is do the best with what you've had to bring an increase in your giftings, whether it's gold or whether it's the talents God has put inside you. We should never be afraid to trust God and be good stewards of what He's given us. I hope you liked it. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and God bless you until next time.